What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. It's time to talk about In Your House, the next NXT TAKEOVER event coming up this Sunday. We are going to run down the card, tell you what they've already advertised so far, what we think is going to happen, all our predictions, all our preview stuff that we normally do here. And who are we? Well, I'm Tony Mango. With me is Robert DeFelice.
I'm so excited to be watching Milton Bradley Karate Fighters present NXT TakeOver In Your House.
I want to get those Mortal Kombat cheat codes that they can tell you, press like up, down, left, BA,
Dude,
whatever.
Have you heard about the Ultra 64?
There's like some Rumble pack or something maybe, right?
Something like that.
Where it feels like something's, happening just in your hands at the moment, I hear that they've got, 64 bits.
I know, and it's like, what does the PlayStation have? 32? It's lame.
You might be able to tell that Mario's hat is a hat. My mind was blown when some of those things had come out. I miss those old In Your House things. Those were so much fun. It's like Todd Pettengill popping up and just being like, if you want to know how to beat Sub-Zero, like, what? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So maybe we get Sonny and Jerry Lawler and everybody doing the whole Karate Fighters tournament again. That would be so good. We got Doc Hendricks the other day in NXT.
Yeah.
Handsome Doc.
That was good.
And we know we're getting Todd Pettengill back, so... Man, if
Johnny Gargano had told Sean that he wants Karate Fighters on the event, so maybe they get a commercial in.
Maybe the pre-show or something.
Yeah,
I hope so. That'd be so much fun. It'll probably end up being on my list of like Smark Out moments of the year. That's sad.
I thoroughly remember last year's event being like, "Oh my god, this is so much fucking fun!"
And it's so weird because it's just like any other card. But they just happen to be, the graphic pops up and it's got In Your House and it's got a house inside. And you're just like, yeah, it's great,
Yeah, it really is great. And we got a match for the $1 million title. We got a winner take all, kind of like that triple header. That's not the one that we watched the other day, right? What In Your House
one did we watch? Today? God, which one did we watch? This was not that long ago. Why did we forgetting about this?
Beatings. It was the Christmas one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For context, we watched it at 3 in the morning, so that's why I don't remember.
Yeah, for contents, I'm not even using the word there. A day's a week, a week's a month.
A month is a year.
Yeah, a month is a decade at this point. It somehow, jumps up. Everybody's sitting there going, this is like 5 minutes into the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
And that's, if you feel that, drop a comment below and tell us that. But also tell us your thoughts on all the other things that are happening here. Your predictions of everything, your preview stuff that you want to talk about. And while you're over there and you're dropping a comment, which should be on the YouTube page, but if it's not, you send a tweet at Smark Out Moment, you put something on Facebook, you put something on the page on smarkoutmoment.com, whatever it might be. If you are over on YouTube, though, hit the like button. Hit the applause button if you feel so inclined to give us a little bit of a tip there. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that already. Double check that you are subscribed too, because I know that happens every once in a while. People get unsubscribed and they're not too sure. Ring that little notification bell as well to know when we go live on different things and when things get posted up on the channel. If you want to join the members only stuff on YouTube, there's one that we just recently did, and we're going to continue to do more of those. It's the same thing as the Patreon, so if you're part of one, you're part of the other, that kind of thing. I actually would recommend maybe more so hitting up the YouTube side of things rather than the Patreon, but, whatever it is that you feel more comfortable with, it's the same sort of deal. I'm going to put things up on both, so, but yeah, drop your comments and tell us what you think about what we say, because we're going to get into that, so... let's get into...
Let's start there, though. Since we, bombarded some of the intro, let's start with, do you think there's going to be any crazy, throwback commercials or whatever?
I hope so. I don't think that we'll get any more than maybe one.
What'd they do last year? They did the, ice cream bars. They did... Was it just the ice cream bars? I thought I remember more than one.
I don't even remember the ice cream bars, actually.
They did the ice cream bars last year.
Days a week, months a year.
Yeah.
Who was in
No,
the ice cream bar one?
they just replayed an old one, like literally.
Oh, they didn't like record something new with like I don't know, Timothy Thatcher or something.
Yeah, they just kind of recorded some of the older ones.
I want those ice cream bars back. I'd like to see the Karate Fighters thing. I'd like to see some other kind of promotional tie-ins or just some, that obviously I don't expect them to give away.
Super Soakers still exist, right?
Yeah. I don't expect them to give away a house.
That house is now Taco Bell.
Maybe they give out some Taco Bell. Yeah.
I want to work there.
Yeah. We have 5 matches announced so far. I highly doubt that we're going to get a 6th. But we might. I mean, they've done that before, but they've usually announced that ahead of time. So I'm anticipating the 7:30 pre-show is probably just going to be 7:30 pre-show, and that's going to be it.
Yeah. But it might be a fun pre-show.
Might be. We know at the very least that Sam Roberts, Arash Markazi, and Justin... Oh my god, what's his name? Starts with a B.
Barrasso?
Brasario? Something like that?
Barrasso.
Roberts?
I said Barrasso. Yeah, maybe.
That they are going to be there. We got most of the titles on the line. We don't have the women's tag or the cruiserweight championship on the line, but we had another title that we didn't expect to have on the line here. So where do we want to start here? We want to start with the match that has no title on the line?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So that match is Mercedes Martinez against Xia Li. And on paper, compared to some of the other ones, this match doesn't mean as much because there is no championship on the line or anything like that. But in the same fashion, I'm totally down for it because I like both of them. And Xia Li is going to get revenge for having lost in 2017 in the Mae Young Classic. Hats off to whoever remembered that and decided to bring that back. Martinez is the person that is there to put other people over at this point. I don't think that she's really going to get too high up in a lot of feuds, and she's kind of there to lose. I would totally be fine with her winning the championship at some point and stuff. This isn't me saying that she should lose everything, but in this fashion, Xia Li's the focal point. So she wins, puts up a good fight. Martinez puts up a good fight as well, but comes out the loser in this, and thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I absolutely thumbs up. Xia Li wins. It's about time to start pushing Xia Li on the pay-per-view side of things.
This is our first takeover.
Yeah, which is crazy. Because how long have they been doing the gimmick? The dragon lady. Tian, thank you.
That got me to cough for some reason. Tian Xia has been around for a couple of months now. At least the build up, you figure on top of that, when they kept doing all those vignettes and stuff, it's been probably like half a year, maybe.
So yeah, she deserves to be on a takeover.
Actually, you know what? It might have been a little bit longer than that. Because you figure it's June already.
So
was it last year?
For context, because we keep saying a day is a week, a week is a month, and a month is a year. Yeah, I legitimately do not know how long this angle has been running, and I guess I will just look up Xia Li.
November 25th apparently might have been the first vignette.
Yeah, so I'm looking at November 25th, which is quite a long time ago, so yeah.
Isn't that crazy to think that?
Okay, no, not even, because November 18th, Boa was when Regal went to Boa's house, and he was like, no.
So it's like early November then.
So it's like late October, October 21st. It says, Boa presented Xia Li with another letter. So this started in October. This started in October. Yeah.
It really feels
That's
like it
pretty
was like
crazy.
maybe 4 months ago to me. But then again, my sense of time is all over the place at this point.
So October. This thing has been going on since October, and it's now June. So 8 months. Wow. So you're working through this realization with us in real time, folks.
Right, where it's just like, what happened? Where did these times go?
So you're telling me that in the time since she's been this character, there's been like 3 takeovers and 2 specials?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Hmm. Boggles the mind. But yeah, Xia Li is the one that's going to win this match. It would be very shocking to me if Martinez won, because Xia Li's been protected so far, and I can't imagine that Martinez is the one that they're going to have beat Xia Li to switch things up.
The only way that happens is if, by way of her beating Xia Li, Mei Ying gets up off the chair and just starts going fucking crazy.
Right,
And
yeah, like Martinez gets like a roll up or something.
and she just obliterates Martinez, maybe does the scorpion, get over here, and I'm down for it.
I'm cool with it one way or the other. I think that Xia Li winning is great. I love Martinez as well. So it's kind of a win-win. I do think Lee is the one that's not only going to win, but should win. But, I mean, I'm cool with either fashion. So, again, thumbs up on that one. Thumbs up on this as well, too. The winners take all 6-man tag team match for the North American and NXT Tag Team Championship. We got Legado del Fantasma challenging MSK and Bronson Reed, which is just this makes so much sense.
This makes so much sense.
It's
hurts.
baffling, isn't it?
Like, this is one of those things where you go, how do we not get more of these?
Mm-hmm. Not necessarily even like this, but like, how do we not just get this logic applied to a lot of things? Because it's like, well, MSK and Bronson Reed have been backing each other up, and they've been fighting with Legado del Fantasma. You could do MSK versus Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza, and you could do Reed against Escobar, but then that would have had double the amount of matches on the card. So you combine them, and then you make it winners take all, so it's like there's, more of an element to it other than just a random 6-man tag.
There's so much here because, I mean, honestly, Wes Lee can take the fall from Escobar. And
all 3 titles change hands.
Reed doesn't lose anything. DJZ, I'm forgetting his name right now. Joaquin Wilde and Gonzalez, they gain something from it. And yeah,
Gonzalez.
I love this.
Raquel's not in this.
No, what's his name?
Raul Mendoza.
Thank you.
Raquel wins this match.
And I was like, Raul Gonzalez. That doesn't sound right. I'm gonna go with it.
The day's a week.
Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde, they get something even if Escobar pins one of the tag team guys. I love this. Do this. And yeah, Fantasma needs to win.
I could see it going either way.
I can too, because Bronson, who shouldn't lose yet, and quite frankly, MSK shouldn't either, even though I think the CWC crowd is kind of meh on MSK. But I don't know. I can see it going either way. I'm going to stake my claim as it's Fantasma winning the match.
I'm kind of leaning more towards MSK and Bronson Reed retain, but I can easily be sold on the opposite happening. Now, this is another scenario too where I like both sides, so I'm going to be cool with either fashion. MSK is fun. Bronson Reed's cool. Legado is great. I'm totally down for Escobar being North American champion. And it's just kind of a matter of like, well, What are their plans? This match and one other match on this card feels more so, in retrospect, we're going to go, oh, of course that happened.
We say this a lot when it comes to NXT.
Mm-hmm. And it ends up being true, too. Like, because it's like they seem to have plans. And, the main roster, it's sort of like, all right, well, let's just give the title to Lashley. And you're like, yeah, you probably didn't have that planned until a week and a half ago, right? And they're like, nah, we had it planned 2 weeks ago. kind of thing. Whereas, like, NXT, it kind of seems like they go, let's bring this person on, and a year and a half from now, this is what's going to happen. Of course, it doesn't work out all the time, and, things change and whatever. An injury pops up, changes plans, whatever it might be. But it does seem like they have ideas in mind, at least kind of like the month prior. And I'm wondering if maybe this winner's take all thing is to sort of do that transition. But I also think that maybe this could be the end of Legado in NXT. They might come up to the main roster. We'll talk about this in the hot tags a little bit more, but the draft is supposed to happen after SummerSlam.
Which, by the way, everybody's like, what do you mean they're doing a draft in Australia? Yeah, they've been doing a draft for like the last 2 years now. They do the draft now. That's the way it works.
Yeah, but we get to draft around the fall. And then
I do think
sporadically throughout the year, they just switch some people around.
I do think they'd be better off with the shakeup. But of these 6, if I wanted anyone to go, I'd want MSK in the main roster tag division because they fit now. And I'd want Reed on either Raw or SmackDown because they need new stars. They desperately need new stars.
Well, I have a post up on Bleach Report if anybody's interested in people that I think need to go up to the main roster, and nobody on this was on my list.
I'm just saying if you give me the option.
Yeah. No, I want I want Io Shirai, I want Toni Storm, I want I didn't add him on my list, but I kind of think that Oney Lorcan needs to go up to the main roster soon. But different story.
You should go with Birch though. I like them as a tandem.
Ideally. I also think Kona Reeves should go up once he's not injured anymore. He could be the new Bo Dallas. But I like the idea of Legado winning the titles. I like the idea of MSK retaining along with Bronson Reed. So this is going to be one of those rare instances where I'm just like, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. This is going to be a fun match. I'm going to be happy either way. And like, yay.
And yeah, in your house, and Todd Pettin goes there, and everything's just going to be great.
We get that saxophone, that and I'm going to be like, oh, that was a fun match, and I'm glad with that so-and-so won. And then we'll get into like Hell in a Cell, and I'll be like, oh God, why did they do this? Ultimately, gun to my head, I'm saying MSK and Reed retain.
Gun to my head, I'm saying Fantasma pick up the win because Escobar pins one of the tag team guys.
Let's be fair, gun to my head, I'm saying, oh my God, please don't shoot me.
That is fair.
What did I do? I didn't do anything wrong. Who do I need to sell out so you don't kill me?
Wow, Tony just outing himself as a rat.
Yeah, I'll totally be the rat that eats the cheese.
Last rat standing.
Damn right. We'll talk about that in a couple days. If you have no idea what we're talking about, it's the Review to a Kill series that we're doing, the James Bond stuff. So we're going to talk about Skyfall coming up. Check out the most recent episode of that. I forget exactly which one was most recently put. Die Another Day, maybe? I think might have been. Sounds about right. So,
Mojito?
Yeah, mojitos. Check that stuff out. Head on over to fanboysanonymous.com. Check out the Forrest Gump fan tracks too while we're at it. We just did that as part of the Pick Your Poison tier. If you don't know the Pick Your Poison tier, it's part of the Patreon. Same thing on Smark Moment and Fanboys Anonymous. So that's where you get to request things. And Guest 5 was so kind as to donate to the Pick Your Poison tier and request out of the list that we were going through back and forth Forrest Gump. So if you want to listen to Rob and I talk about how amazing that movie is and everything,
Yeah,
then
that movie's so good.
check that out over there. Show some love over to the Blue Brand, fanboysanonymous.com. And subscribe, follow, do all that good stuff that's over there. So, this is a match, the next one we're going to be talking about, that I never would have imagined happening. I think I even might have written up an article about early projections for the next NXT TakeOver and where I imagine that they're going to go, which could have been MSK defends the tag titles against Imperium, or Karrion Kross defends the title against so-and-so, whatever. I never had in my foresight Cameron Grimes and LA Knight in a ladder match to win Ted DiBiase's $1 million championship.
So, this is a good short-term gain. What's the long game here?
I have no idea. And, I just mentioned in the other thing that a lot of times we go, well, you know what? It makes sense in retrospect if they did this and if they do that. And okay, now we see that, Ember Moon lost the title because of this, or, they put the title on this guy so that way he can transition to this new guy that they're signing, or, any of that kind of thing. I have no idea where they're going with this, because I can't see Cameron Grimes or LA Knight carrying around that $1 million championship for the long term.
In fairness, I can see, if we're going for a legitimate take, I can see Grimes holding it as comedy.
Right.
But I can see Knight legitimately doing the $1 million gimmick.
Yeah, because he's way more serious.
What the fuck is this? And I don't mean that in a bad way. What the fuck? I mean, I have no clue where this is going. And this is one of those weird, hey, they're actually in tune with society, in that this all happened because of the GameStop.
Right.
The GameStop stock. And it's
so you can't even say this was one of the long-term plans that they had going.
No.
When they started Tianxia and they're like, okay, let's push Xia Li. And then they're sitting around, the conference table in October or something going, well, who do we have for this person? What are we going with this? And then they go, tell you what we're going to do with Cameron Grimes. He's going to get some Dogecoin investments. And it's nobody could have seen that crap happening.
And that makes this really fun. But my concern is, what do you do after this match is over? Regardless of who wins, what do you do? The $1 million belt only works with one guy. And it's the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase. I thought that Junior was going to be able to do some good stuff with it. And that would have made sense, because that's the legacy. But what do you do with this if Cameron Grimes wins it?
Other than he laughs a lot and then he eventually loses the title in some fashion.
And then they kind of eventually quietly retire it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about the long game here, but here's where I pivot and go, I don't care, because it's going to be so much fun.
Part of me thinks neither is winning it. And it's going to be
what?
Hear me out. This is crazy. This is crazy. I admit it. It's not something that I don't want people staking their claims on this is what Tony's his creative direction would have gone, or this is his prediction thing and he's sold on the idea. I'm not sold on it, but it's popped in my mind. What if, since it's a ladder match, Ted DiBiase has a third-party ringer and he's the heel out of this whole thing, that it goes, neither of you were actually worthy of this, and I brought this other guy in to grab the title, and that's how the match ends. And it's something I don't even know who. Who would be a good spot for this?
The only one I would accept here is Junior. And he's out of the business.
Right. God, this is even an even weirder idea. What if it's Top Dollar?
Yeah.
Like, and then it ends up being some tie-in with the.
Oh my god, can you imagine Hit Row comes running down with a camera crew? Oh, you know what? I now want to see it. Because if you think about it, Top Dollar. Now they've been filming this stuff with the legends.
Yep, everybody's got a price. They put the $1 million championship in the archives and all that. Like, it's not happening. I'm gonna put it out there. It's not happening. That's about.
But it'd be real good though.
That's about as likely as like Leon Ruff being the guy that they just decide to go with for that, or Ike Manjiro just becomes the new $1 million man or something. But it's popped in my mind that there might be something crazy like that.
I really like the Top Dollar thing though, because it makes sense.
Everybody's got a price, and I pay top dollar. Like. But I do think Cameron Grimes is the focal point of this feud, and
he should win it.
It makes more sense if he wins than LA Knight. But then again, LA Knight winning is like, well, they give him something to do. He can be the $1 million man. Kind of like it's weird. I could see it going either way. I am leaning more towards Grimes, but this is just something that came out of nowhere.
I hope that Dogecoin goes to the moon again after Cameron Grimes wins the belt, so I can make a little bit. That's neither here nor there, but I'll go Grimes just because Cameron Grimes.
It's weird to think also that Cameron Grimes is in a ladder match, and what he's grabbing isn't a moon.
You know what? That'd be a lot of fun too.
That's another idea. They just have like a little moon, that somebody has to grab, like a disco ball kind of looking thing, and Oh,
and Callum's not here, but I'll talk about it. Yeah, somehow we're getting another fucking ladder match from NXT. Do they do these every takeover now?
Was there one at the last one?
Yeah, the Cruiserweight title.
That's right. Yeah. Huh. I mean, they're fun. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining. Ladder matches are my favorite type of gimmick match, but it's just like, wow, do we get these every single takeover?
I guess it's just sort of that's easy, and
Sean's like, you know what got me over? Ladder.
Just that easy. Just ladder match. Okay, sold. That kind of thing.
Just Sean, we already did that. The ladder. People top, and it works. There's one time they wanted to put me in the ring with Sid. I said ladder, and I ended up working Scott, and it worked out much better.
So if you want to climb the ladder of success, and you're not $1 million man, you want to save a little bit of money, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
I know a great way that you can get 20% off and free shipping with something here. That happens to be Manscaped. Today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped, our partners and sponsors who are just the absolute best in men's grooming. And we've got a partnership going on right now where if you use the promo code SMARK, SMARK, over at manscaped.com, you get that free shipping and you get that 20% off for all the different products that they've got available to them. And there are a lot. And they're great. We've been touting them for a couple weeks now for, just cause, because we've been liking everything that we've tried from them so far. So I'm excited.
It's amazing how that happens, Tony, because once again, good things are good.
Good things are good. That's how it works, everybody. I'm really excited to try. I've got another package coming my way. I'll be giving you guys, heads up when it comes to them and those things. But, we're talking about the $1 million man here, Ted DiBiase Jr. We were thinking that he could have been potentially the next $1 million champion, and it didn't work out. But hey, look, Father's Day's coming up, June 20th. Maybe you want to get something good for your dad. Well, Manscaped.com has you covered. You can see some of the products up on your screen right now if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening elsewhere, head on over to Manscaped.com. You can check out their different products on the website very easily. They've got subscription services where if you want to make that a recurring thing, you can do that. You can just pick up something small too. If maybe you want to try something out and see if there's anything else that you're interested in. But think of it this way: it's in your house. What was your original house? What was your dad's balls?
You know that you're absolutely right. My God.
Also, you got to keep your house nice and trim. So you need a weed whacker, you need a lawnmower. Pick up the lawnmower 4.0. Pick up the weed whacker that they've got for your, your nose and your ear hair.
That's right. Because, like, look, Cameron Grimes believes that he has what it takes to carry on the $1 million legacy. But he's got the nose hairs, and he's in need of a lot of manscaping, not just below the belt, but quite a bit above it as well.
He's a hairy son of a bitch.
So carry on the $1 million legacy and do it with a smooth body. Because let's be honest, Ted DiBiase in the 80s, smooth body. No real body hair there, no grotesque nose hairs and ear hairs. Because when you got $1 million, why aren't you taking care of yourself? And now you can without even having $1 million, thanks to our good friends at Manscaped.
Everybody's got a price, and your price is lower when it comes to using that promo code SMARK over at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping. So we want to thank Manscaped for sponsoring this. We want to thank them for having some great products. And we want to thank you for helping us and helping Manscaped out and helping yourself out. Because not only will your balls thank you, and your
dad's balls will thank you.
But we will thank you as well. So coming out of that, $1 million championship on the line. Also, the NXT Women's Championship is on the line. And Ember Moon, former NXT Women's Champion, is going to face Raquel Gonzalez, the current NXT Women's Champion. And there is absolutely no way in hell that Ember Moon wins this championship.
Yeah, but it'll be the best match she's had as a single in quite some time.
That's true. Ember hasn't been doing super well in NXT. She could have been a big fish in a small pond kind of a thing, because look at it this way, actually. If we go back to her original title reign, that wasn't great. And it feels like Ember Moon's always on the cusp of potentially breaking into that sort of, she could be the top kind of person on whatever brand, but she still hasn't gotten there yet. And how weird would it be if after some fledgling feuds and a tag team title reign that didn't really last super long and everything that goes along with that she just suddenly beats Raquel, and Raquel's whole, 9 months or whatever of building up to this title reign ends this fast. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not. It's love Ember, but it's not happening.
Now, this is means for Raquel to get a win over a former champion and to just sort of get another win, period. She needs to beat people, and they need to have her defend the championship. And really, what are the other options that they were going to have here? This makes sense. It's fine. It's the match I'm least looking forward to.
I think it'll be really good. Here's the thing, nothing on this card will be bad. So I am looking forward to this, but I'm hoping that Ember does something good moving forward, because I like her team with Shotzi. In fact, I'd be so bold, Tony, as to say, move those two up to the main roster right now. Because they need women. They need some serious women, because this roster right now has 16 women total, the main roster, and 9 of them are on Raw, 7 of them are on SmackDown. Put Ember and Shotzi on SmackDown, and that's another tag team, that's another single. Do it. Move them up.
I still say EO and Toni Storm makes more sense.
Move them too. I don't like the idea. And yes, I know they dip into NXT every year, but I don't like the idea that there's only half the amount of a Royal Rumble with the main roster women, when it's like, aren't we in the middle of this revolution where look how many great women's wrestlers we have?
Well, there's also the idea too that, Lacey's out, Becky hasn't come back yet. We don't know what's really going on with Sasha. She'll
be back.
MIA, but she's probably going to be back.
Well, no, she's advertised for Well, I know card subject to change or whatever, but she's advertised for the July 16th.
What, that just like a super show or something?
The SmackDown show, the one with
Huh.
the fans.
So maybe that's when she returns, yeah. But we do need more people on the roster, and you can't cannibalize the NXT roster in the process of doing that, but I'd be fine with a brand split ending, you know? Like, we've talked about that before, so...
The brand split needs to end, and the rumors that the draft will be on, was it September... No, it's August 30th and September 3rd or whatever, and I don't like that. I don't want a brand split anymore. I know Callum is a big proponent of like, no, it's a good thing, but the way they run it is shit. So just merge the brands.
You know, WWE was a lot better kept when they only had 4 hours a week that they had to do, and they had an abundance of talent. You know, they stretched themselves a little bit too thin here, and it's weird because it's like, yeah, like, I'd be cool with Ember Moon coming back to the main roster, but I don't think that she's going to end up being a big deal on the main roster. I think she's a bigger deal in NXT, but at the same time, she doesn't feel like a big deal right now against Raquel because there are still bigger deals in NXT. So she kind of works both ways and neither way. Like, she is a name who works well in NXT as a bigger name, but she's going to be filling that role of the one who loses, while you take a Raquel and you build her up because she's somebody who you're going to bank more on for the future.
Right.
But then again, do you use Ember on the roster now just because you got rid of a bunch of other people because you can have an established name on there? Or do you take somebody like a Raquel and, you know, you fast track her towards the end of the year or something up to the main roster? I don't know. Look, Raquel's not losing this belt right now. She might lose it by the end of the year, but she's not losing it now. They still, at the very least, have to do Raquel against Dakota Kai.
Right. So she's not losing the belt right now. And I just think overall, there's more for Ember to do on the main roster. But right now, we're entering an era where a lot of the people are like, yeah, but I kind of want to just help out the younger generation. Like, I'm not worried. We're seeing a lot of that now where people are not worried about chasing the brass ring, so to speak.
Just
And
like
they just want
giving
to be
up.
a part. Yeah, they just want to be a part of the industry and give back. And if the next generation can have a better run than they did, that's great.
Do you think Ember is one of those that would be better off if she left?
I think she's one of those that would have many options. I want to believe that she's one of those who could be better off, but I'm not sold.
If she were to go to an AEW or an Impact or an NWA, maybe not as much an NWA, but I could see her being a much bigger deal over there. Then again, though, I can't see her being the one that they, like, in AEW would put the title on necessarily either. Impact, she'd be the champion, for sure.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
It's definitely something to think about. It's something that I'd like to see explored because I think she can be great. But I just haven't seen it yet because you don't see it in WWE.
At the end of the day, this one is just a stopgap. It's just somebody for Gonzalez to beat, and that's what's going to happen. Gonzalez retains.
Yep.
Then we've got the fatal 5-way match for the NXT Championship. Karrion Kross said, "Give me everyone," and he's got most of them. Adam Cole, Pete Dunne, Johnny Gargano, Kyle O'Reilly.
Yep.
This is actually the match that I am the least confident in predicting.
Absolutely. Because there are 5 men here, all of whom could benefit the main roster, all of whom could do great things with that world title. I have no idea how to call it.
I could see a scenario for everybody winning.
Yep.
The least of which is Pete Dunne. Now,
I actually think that this is one of the ways to get the belt on him without having to like put the spotlight on him per se. Like you don't have to give him like, oh, it's his chance at the world title. It's just, oh, Pete Dunne's in the match, and maybe he sneaks away with it.
see, I think there's, well, I guess let's go kind of from the order of what they got on here. Karrion Kross, he can definitely retain. Now, he can pin 4 other people. I don't think he's going to win this match by one of those like forced knockout submission types of deals. I think if he wins, he pins somebody. And he can pin literally anybody on this list, and it makes sense. Kross is a guy that, whether he retains or he doesn't, I think entirely depends on whether or not he goes to the main roster. And with that being not too far off, you know, if he goes on August 30th, you only need the rest of June, July, and August. You can get away with...
You only need to get him through SummerSlam.
Yeah, you can get away with, I think, Kross drops the title here, and he has a couple of weeks leading towards a rematch, and then something happens in the rematch, and then you just wait a couple of weeks, and then he pops up on Raw or SmackDown.
Well,
then again, though, you can also make the argument, if he goes up, he could just drop the title in a couple weeks. He doesn't have to lose it here, but now's the time to do it if you want to protect him, because he doesn't have to lose to lose. Anybody can pin anybody else. You know, Pete Dunne can pin Adam Cole, and Karrion Kross is not the champion anymore.
That's one of the reasons why I think he's losing. It's weird, because we spent a lot of this talk, like, go up to the main roster, and the main roster, and the main roster, and Sean and Hunter have been very adamant on the media calls as of late. Like, damn it, stop assuming that people are leaving every time that TakeOver is finished. You know? That being said...
Well, we believe that because it happened so often, you know?
That being said, like, now is the time, right? Like, or is it just me? Like, I think now is the time, because the main roster, again, needs people. You're going back out on the road, which means fans are going to want to see fresh matches. Because here's the reality. People are done with Drew McIntyre. Love Drew. He's great. A lot of people are going to feel like he's old news. He had his run. It was during the pandemic. That sucks. But people are going with McIntyre. They're going to want a Karrion Kross. They're going to want a Kyle O'Reilly. Or an Adam Cole. I kind of think... So if I had to pick, I'm going to say Cole gets it and drops it to Kyle soon. I don't know how soon, but I think Cole gets it and he drops it to Kyle.
I'm so, like... To repeat a thing that I had said earlier, probably a couple times, by the end of this draft, we're going to know exactly why they did everything that they did. And I don't want to jump the gun and say that Kross goes up to the main roster, but at the same time, I think they just got rid of Braun Strowman. They got rid of Aleister Black. Less so when it comes to Buddy Murphy. But Ruby Riott, Lana, etc., they're going to move some people up, for sure. They have to.
Like, if you look at those two names you just mentioned, though, Strowman and Black, they need a monster.
Right. They need a monster that can fill that void.
Guy. Like, one of the spooky characters. Because they don't have Taker.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have Wyatt, because Wyatt's gone.
Where's he been? Yeah. And you get Scarlett with Kross, and Scarlett hasn't been wrestling, but she is somebody who could. She is a wrestler. It's not like she hasn't ever done that.
Right.
So they kind of get a 2-for-1, and Kross is somebody who they clearly value. It's not like it's, well, we're just going to bump somebody up for the sake of it, and then they can sink or swim, and then if we fire them, they fire them. Kross is a guy that seems like they want to build toward. I think we might be in a scenario where Kross drops this title here. This was concocted purely to get the title off of him. And he gets some kind of a championship rematch over the course of the next month or two. Because Great American Bash is probably coming up.
Potentially.
The likelihood that they do that it's fairly high. And it'll just be a special episode of a special episode of NXT. It's not going to be like a pay-per-view.
It'll be a regular special episode.
Or an irregular special. And then maybe we get another takeover around the beginning of August. Maybe not. Doesn't necessarily have to be, but
should be on the Sunday after SummerSlam, because by the way, SummerSlam's on a Saturday.
Yeah, it's weird. But maybe we don't. Maybe we just get the Great American Bash, and maybe they wait to do the Great American Bash until past, 4th of July or so. Maybe they do it towards the end of July, and that kind of serves the purpose of both. But I can definitely see a scenario where Kross drops the title here, somebody pins somebody else. Over the course of the next few weeks or months, they set up that Kross gets a rematch, whether it's against anybody. It could be any of these guys. And then it ends in some kind of like a DQ, no contest, whatever it might be. And then he just kind of disappears for a little bit. And we see him get drafted. Meanwhile, it transitions over to, which I can only imagine be in this case, but maybe it's not. Maybe they have some people signed or something that we're just not aware of. I think if the title switches over here, Cole, Gargano, and Riley are really the three guys this revolves around. It could go to Dunne. I don't think so. O'Reilly can win it and just have a rematch against Kross, and he retains the title through whatever fashion it might be. But I think more so Cole or Gargano win here to set up Kyle beating them. Kind of like what you had said with Cole dropping it to O'Reilly down the line.
They could very well go with Gargano instead of Cole, because Gargano... Either way, I think it's Gargano or Cole, because, hey, let's get this title on a mainstay. Let's get this title on somebody who feels like NXT. Because here's the fucking scary thing. For the last year, this championship has been in peril. For the last year, Lee beats Cole. We're still knee deep in the pandemic, we're experimenting because nobody knows what's really going on. And Lee drops it a month later and goes up to the main roster. Kross drops it immediately. Balor gets it in an Iron Man match and has a whole reign in front of nobody that you can argue is kind of meh. So, I think you put it on Cole and you tell this story of, and everything is right with the world. Fans are coming back. Adam Cole's champion. This is the way NXT is supposed to be. And that's when Cole can beat him in October or whatever the next takeover is. Because he doesn't need to hold it for long at this point, because he's held it for 400 days.
See, I think Gargano makes more sense than Cole, because also Cole and O'Reilly had sort of their big blow-off match.
How could you say Gargano in that same sentence as everything else when you know Gargano made a history out of not knowing where the big blow-off match is in NXT, so it's very clear NXT doesn't know where the big blow-off match is.
Also, though, Gargano has been having a lot... he's been a big focal point, of course, for years, but they seem to be having a lot of fun with the way. And he did just drop the North American Championship. Maybe the plan has been Gargano is going to be the next champion through some kind of thing. Let's get the North American title off of him so he can be the world champion, and we can kind of, play around with that sort of a thing. It could just be that they wanted to give it to Bronson Reed, but I'm suspicious of that a little bit too.
Okay, so the least likely thing I see happening here is Pete Dunne winning. But a step above that, I would say, is Kyle And then Kross, like I don't know if I see Kross retaining.
And it's weird because if he doesn't go up to the main roster, we're going to go, oh, of course Kross retained. This makes perfect sense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then it'll be like, well, then what the hell are you guys thinking about when it comes to this? So that's why I keep saying we don't know what their plans are, but their plans, if they have plans, if they don't have plans, and this is just absolutely whatever the hell, then that's a different story. But assuming they have plans, it's going to make so much more sense once we actually see what happens with that. And I am leaning more towards Gargano.
I'm leaning towards Cole.
If somebody gets signed, like maybe there's something to do with this partnership with New Japan. Maybe Daniel Bryan goes back down to NXT if he's still around. There's going to be something that's going to just open our eyes to something. And yeah, it's kind of up in the air about that. But tell us what you guys think. What do you expect to happen? Drop your comments below. You know, give your predictions and any other thoughts you have with NXT TakeOver in your house. We are, of course, going to be having live coverage on smark.moment.com during the pay-per-view. I'll also be doing my usual stuff on Bleacher Report and eWrestling News. And then following the pay-per-view, we've got the Pay-Per-Viewpoint. So we'll be running down all the stuff that happens and, you know, giving thoughts about the pay-per-view and doing all that kind of stuff that we normally do here. That's going to be live the way that we've been doing them. So I'll eventually put something up on the Mega Maniacs Facebook group with the direct link. But remember, of course, if you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and you have the email notifications set up, then no matter what that link particularly might be, then you'll get that in your emails. You'll say, hey, look, they just started to go live. Then that way you can just jump on and, you know, it's all kind of sorted out for you instead of being like, oh, I wonder when they're going to get started, that sort of a deal. But it will be as soon as possible after the pay-per-view. It'll be live over here on YouTube. And if you can't catch it live, then you'll be able to listen to it afterward because I don't just delete it or anything. What the hell would be the point of that? You know? Imagine
You
doing
do miss
that.
the chance to like interact with us live, but
Yeah. You know, you get to give your opinions on the air through the chat form, and then, you know, we can kind of bounce back and forth and be like, you know, oh, so-and-so thinks this about this, whatever, and, you know, whatever that might be. But any other thoughts you got about TakeOver in your house before we wrap this up?
I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the fun, and I would be really surprised if we're talking about nobody lost their title. Like literally, just go through the card, nobody lost their title, and if we're not talking about like, wow, this match was really good and a lot of fun. Specifically, I think the main event will be the most fun because it's a car crash, and
Yeah.
those are usually very enjoyable. Um, and I think NXT is in shape to go back on the road in a month. Start doing house shows around here again. So that's exciting. We're entering a time where Hell in a Cell is our last, like, okay, so what'd you think of the Thunderdome? What'd you think of the piped in crowd noise? NXT doesn't have that, but we're entering a time of such normalcy again that I'm wondering if everything's gonna like blow the roof off of all the things once fans come back just because, hey, let's blow our load because like we gotta try to turn this number around, you know?
Just like switch all the titles and
Switch
do
all
all
the
the, you
titles
know,
and hey look, John Cena's here every week and hey look, it's Goldberg and hey look, it's Brock Lesnar. Like I'm wondering if it's just gonna be like that nonstop.
maybe. Or they might do the kind of thing that we've seen them do before where they go, well, fans are here, we don't have to do anything. You know?
They might.
Hopefully that's not the case, but we'll see, of course, how this plays out. And this is happening Sunday night, at like the very least for TakeOver, on the usual kind of setup that we got. 7:30 p.m. ET is the pre-show, and then the main card starts at 8 o'clock. So, you know, get yourselves ready for that kind of thing, and follow what we've got going on Smark Out Moment. Of course, at Smark Out Moment. Follow me at Tony Mango. Follow Rob at Dude Felice.
Yeah, and check out everything else going on at Fightful.com. This weekend is um, Against All Odds, where Kenny Omega is defending the title against Moose for Impact, and this weekend's also in your house, of course, and there will be a lot of coverage of whatever media stuff goes on there. And yeah, just stay tuned to everything and click around, and we will be back with you next time.
So if Omega retains against Moose, is his next opponent Squirrel?
Well, no, you see, Omega is going to retain against Moose because he's from Moose Country, and they have experience in this.
We will not be doing a post show for Against All Odds. I'm probably not going to watch it.
Oh, it's not like it's one of their lesser shows.
Yeah.
Slammiversary next month is sandwiched in between the first SmackDown with People and Money in the Bank. And Slammiversary is the show where, okay, their 90 days are up. Are the Iconics there? Is Joe there? So the Slammiversary next week is the big one. Or next month.
Next month. That one you might do something for. If I do end up watching Against All Odds, maybe we'll do a Darkcast or something. It'll depend. I don't know. I'll just see what I'm up to on Saturday. What time does it start on Saturday?
I think it's 8 o'clock.
We'll see. But the game plan, at least for now, we're going to carry on throughout the rest of the week, do our normal stuff. Since we, of course, don't have AEW tonight, we've got that after it's SmackDown and at the same time as 205 Live. We're not doing the hot tags afterward like we normally would do. And so we're going to do that a little bit earlier, either Friday afternoon or actually we might end up waiting and doing it on Saturday. I don't know. We'll see. You'll find out when we find out. And we'll let you know what's up with that. But keep paying attention to smarkoutmoment.com. Keep having some fun over on fanboysanonymous.com. And we will see you when we see you, everybody. That's going to do us in for this edition. Thank you for listening. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.